Okay, greetings. This is Classic Games Redefined. My name's Rich. We're doing yet another video. Another Why That Game video, and this time we're looking at diplomacy. I will have links below for the game. And for more information, you can go look it up, including an article in Grantland. This game is a historically significant game. I'll get in a minute. But before I begin, this is another game that's definitely not for everybody. But if it's for you, it's a benchmark game. There's treachery, skullduggery. I think somebody gave a review of it. And it could be a very nasty game. Like the way the intrigue can be, this can be also. This is a game where you don't necessarily have to backstab and keep your word. It's important to maintain alliances, but you can benefit from that if you can deceive somebody else. Again, it's called diplomacy for that reason. Its play length is also an issue where it can go on for hours, and optimally you need exactly 7 players. Mind you, what I described here is if these are issues you don't mind, it's definitely a game worth considering. It's a game I can imagine that's now a Hall of Fame type game that's been up for a long time, and about over 50 years now. Henry Kissinger, the former diplomat, ambassador, United States, everything else, Secretary of State. This was his favorite game. So there's pretty much, let's get to the plus points. I warned you about the nastiness that can come with this. This appeals to war gamers because you're using area diplomacy and deal making for political gain. So there's backstabbing and forming alliances and everything else in it. But anyhow, this is a tabletop simulator version of it. There's a map, there's different pieces. I figured I'd just put this out here. This uses very general pieces and a map from the game. So let's look at the good points for it. Why this can be appealing. This game I played a few times. There's reading of people. You have intrigue, reading of motives. That is always interesting, and if that's of interest to you, it would be here. That can produce dramatic tension you have in a game, where you're not sure who you can trust. That intrigue level, I remember when I playing it, that's what I really liked. I'm not big on the backstabbing, but the intrigue level's there. And you have a tension from this. Who can I trust? Who's conspiring against me? So you have dramatic tension, which is very interesting. So there's also minimal downtime. The turns are simultaneous. The reason for the length of the time isn't waiting for people because the turns are simultaneous. The thing is that you'll be so wrapped up in talking that whoever is moderating this really has to end up putting a time limit on it. It lends well to play by email, which is another thing which we have here. You can play by email, and there's a good number of players you can play with. And you have that because of the turn. And also the combat involved with it is very much reading people. There is no luck in this game at all. And it also has a fairly simple rules. There's a little bit of things about support and everything else can get a little bit tricky, a little bit of kludge, but very minor. It's a very streamlined game. So anyhow, we went through the positive points here about the historicalness of it, the intrigue level, which also can work against it, and the minimum downtime between turns, and the strictly skill-based as far as combat goes. It also has a fairly large player base. This is a game you can find people and you can play online with them. So anyhow, there's a lot good to like here. It just has to be your cup of tea, and it may or may not be. There's other games that involve this deal making, which you have in it, that are less nasty than this. But if you like the idea of having war and using diplomacy as an art of war, it's definitely a game. You will check links below, look up what it was, and if it interests you, definitely look into it. Good chance you probably know of the game you've seen before, but at least give it a chance once. And there's actually even a number of variants also to it. I'll throw that in as another bonus. There's other games like this also. So anyhow, but this was the first. It's over 50 years old, and really put in place these type of games. So anyhow, okay, that's about it. We're done here. So look at the positive things on the side. Check the links below and see if this might be of interest to you. So that's it. I do want to thank you for watching, and may your die